Let me go ahead and resume my recording. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. We'll share a few slides, and then we'll have plenty of time for questions at the end. So if you give me just a minute to bring up my slides. Okay, can everybody see that? Yep. Okay, great. So we are here to talk about, very exciting, call for artists. This is an RFP, or request for proposals, for our temporary art projects in our libraries, which we're really, really excited about. So I'm just going to jump right in here. We have a very basic agenda. We started by welcoming you. I'll welcome you again. Thank you for being here. We're happy to see all of you. And we will do some quick introductions, and then we will review the RFP, the request for proposals, and then have time for questions at the end. So I'll start, and then I'll pass it off to Paul, and we'll go from there. I'm Sarah Lindgren. I am an arts administrator with Louisville Metro Government. I work within the division of Louisville Forward, and I staff the Commission on Public Art. My email and phone number are on the screen. They're also included in the RFP document, so feel free to reach out to me anytime if you have questions. And I will pass it off to Paul Burns.
I'm Paul Burns. I'm the Communications Director for the Louisville Free Public Library, and I just celebrated my 22nd year with the library. And my background is in fine arts and art history, so I have a passion and love for art and libraries. So I'm really excited about this project.
Tracy, do you want to go?
Yes, I'll go next. So I'm Tracy Highshoe, and I work on Paul's team at the library, and I handle the social media for the library. And I know some of you already. There you go. Hi, everyone. Hi, Maisie. Hi, Mary Dennis.
And Deborah, if you're on, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. I had myself on mute. I am the branch services manager here at the library, and I have recently celebrated a 20-year anniversary, but you got me beat, Paul. I'm also on because I'm pretty familiar with the branches, and if anybody has any specific branch questions, I'm hoping to be able to respond to that. And as far as my connection to art, I like art, and my daughter is an artist, and I sent her this as well, but I think she's got other things going on. But anyway, that's all.
Thank you, Deborah. And then, since we're a nice small group, if any of our participants want to introduce themselves, please feel welcome, but you don't have to if you don't want to.
I will. I already know most of you. I'm Margaret Phillips. I'm the grants manager at Commonwealth Theater Center. I love books and I love art, so I'm totally psyched to be part of this group.
Great. Thanks for being here.
And I'm Mary Dennis Canapel, and Tracy, hi. I'm sorry I missed seeing you. I was kind of embarrassed that I was going under the cloak of invisibility, which I think I'm not now, but I don't know if you can see me. But yes. I can only see Tracy in one at a time. But I'm a sculptor. I do a lot of community projects, and I love, love, love our library system. We are indebted to you. You are always relevant and topical and bring so many things into focus. So at any rate, I love art and been doing this for a very, very, very long time. So thank you.
I'll go next. I'm Maisie Clark. I'm a watercolor illustrator, and I am a huge fan of libraries. I was July 2019's Artist in Residence for the Collider program, and then I am super excited. I'm the May virtual Artist in Residence for the Collider program. So I love art, and I also love the library. So.
Thank you, Maisie.
Well, my name is Ann Borders. I'm primarily a landscape artist, and primarily imaginary landscapes or somewhat impressionistic or colorful imaginary landscape painter. So anyway, that's sort of my highest work, my most fun work, although I do other things. And I saw about this meeting in the Louisville Visual Art has like the artist opportunities, and realized it was today. And I am probably your number one. I think I have to be the number one like Libby listener, like since quarantine, the app. I probably have at least 5 on hold and 5 loans going at all times. So I am also completely in love with our library system. Very good friends with all of the people at Crescent Hill. So anyway, I'm a big fan, and I just wanted to hear what it was all about. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Anne. I'll just give it
So,
one
Sarah,
more
we didn't
minute.
make it part of the criteria that people use the library, but maybe we should do that next time. Right?
Ooh, good idea. Have to have used the library in the last 6 months. I love it. Anyone else? No pressure if you don't want to. Okay. Okay, thank you, and welcome everybody. Okay, I'm going to keep going with our slides. So we're here to talk about the request for proposals, or the RFP. You'll hear me use that acronym. First, I wanted to share the web page and make sure everybody knows where to find all the good information. So I'm going to hop over for a second to the city's website. Can you guys see that? Yeah, some nods. Okay, thank you. So this is the city's website, louisvilleky.gov. We have a page for arts and culture information. There's lots of stuff there, so check it out anytime if you're not already familiar. Funding and opportunities is the page for looking for calls for artists and other opportunities. The RFP that we're talking about today is the first one on the list. So we can click and ask for some more information. This is just a summary, kind of the highlights of the call. If you click here on request for proposals, you'll get the entire document. And I will really strongly encourage you to read the whole document, read the directions as we were always taught. There's lots of information in here for you. And so I would encourage you to check out the whole document. There's also at the end of the document some information about the library branches that are part of this project. So that's all good information as well. The other important link here is to submit your proposal. So this link will take you over to the libraries page, and you'll know you're in the right place when you see public art RFP at the top. And so some of the questions are open fields, and then some of them you can upload information. So when you want to attach your proposal information or your work samples, you'll be uploading that information. And then don't forget to hit submit at the end. So I'm going to go back to my slides now that you've seen where to find all the good details. Okay, moving on. Okay, so we just wanted to kind of hit some of the highlights of the RFP today. I'll start with the project goals. So we've worked together between our public art team and our library team to come up with these goals. So this is what we hope to accomplish with the project, to create site-specific public art that reflects the library's core value of welcoming all people. And we all know we're part of that group now, that since we have so many library lovers signed in today. We want to welcome the community back to the library as we're reopening after nearly a year of not normal opening at the library. So we're all excited about that. And we want to kind of use that opportunity to share arts experiences that promote healing and reconnecting as a community. We want to create art that is accessible to all. So that would be consistent with the library's family environment. We want to celebrate the neighborhood culture, whether that's the past or the present, in each of those communities where the libraries reside. And we'll talk more about the library locations in a minute. And finally, just to promote an exchange of ideas through this arts experience. The budget, right? That's the big question. What is the budget for the project? So we have a total of $25,000 for this project. We plan to do 5 commissions or 5 projects at $5,000 each. So that's an all-inclusive budget. So as an artist, you want to be planning that amount of money will cover your fees as an artist, your materials, anything you need to fabricate or install your artwork, or perform your artwork, or hold an event if your proposal is event-based. We are here to help you if you are proposing something that might need a permit or similar kind of approval. We're here to help you with that. So our timeline for the project, we first announced the RFP in March on the 18th. Yesterday and today are our virtual information sessions, so you can check that one off the list. You've already accomplished that. That's great. We ask that if you have any questions that you submit those via email by April 26th. And we'll be sort of compiling those questions and answers and putting them online for anyone to see them. And then April 30 is your deadline to submit your proposal by 11:59 p.m. So putting on my teacher hat, I'll say, don't wait till the last minute in case there's a glitch with the online application or your internet isn't working or something. I'll really encourage you to try to go ahead and submit a little bit before the deadline of April 30. By May 14th, we have a committee that will review all the proposals and weigh in on the artist selection. We will notify all applicants of the status of their proposal. And then any artist who's selected, we would follow up with you and schedule meetings to get into the details of your project. By June 5th, if you're selected, we'll be looking for your final design and to make sure that meets the approval of our library staff and our city staff. By August 1, we'll hope to have projects completed, whether that's an installation or an event that is scheduled by August 1. Doesn't have to happen by August 1, but we want it to be scheduled by then. And then sometime during August and September, we will ask all of the selected artists to participate in some kind of Meet the Artist event. That will look different for every project, but we want to have the artists participating in some kind of event with our community members. And then in the fall or towards the end of the year, we would ask artists to deinstall any installation-based works. So these are temporary artworks, and we would ask artists to return the library space back to the way that they found it. Okay, just a few points about artist eligibility. So this opportunity is for any artist or a team of artists in Louisville or Jefferson County. We're open to any artistic discipline. So we've put together a little list here that could be visual art, installation, performance, spoken word, event-based, media art, any discipline, not limited to this list. We do encourage emerging artists to apply, or maybe you're an established artist, but this is your first time trying a public art project. So we encourage you to apply. And then some of you may have participated or been aware of a series of workshops called Making It Public that was offered to artists in February and March. It was led by a group called Forecast Public Art. So we are committing to awarding some of the commissions to those artists that participated in that workshop series over a 5-week period. So what's our selection process? So we'll have a selection committee that will review every proposal submitted. That will include representatives from the library, from the Commission on Public Art, and then through partnership with the Friends of the Library, we'll also have neighborhood residents for each of the library branch locations participating in that selection process. So what will they be looking for? Pretty simple list of selection criteria, a clear description of your proposed project, a project that is feasible within the budget, timeline, and specific site, and then projects that are proposals that are relevant to the project goals that we talked about just a few minutes ago. Paul, I'm going to hand this over to you to talk about the library locations.
Okay. So one of the things we wanted to do was select 5 library locations. We have currently have 17 throughout the county. So we wanted to select 5 that we thought would be good sites to host these public art proposals. We looked at library locations that we identified as being in what we called public art deserts, where they don't have public art readily available for people in those communities. So that was the first criteria that we looked at to narrow down the list. And then we looked at what buildings we felt would actually be suitable for hosting the public art for a variety of reasons. Some of the locations in our system, we don't actually own the buildings or don't have grounds outside to host events. So we sort of eliminated those from the list. So the 5 locations that we chose are Fairdale Library, Iroquois Library, Newburgh, Portland, and Shawnee. It's a really nice mix of library styles and community styles as well. So everything from Carnegie Library to Depression era libraries to very modern, eco-friendly libraries. So if you haven't been to these, we strongly encourage that you visit please visit all of our libraries, but if there's one in particular that you're interested in, please go and do a site visit. We want the space to inspire whatever your project is, and each of these, have something different to offer as far as space goes. And then, like I mentioned too, each neighborhood or community that these libraries are located in has their own vibe, their own history. So that's one of the criteria, the goals for this is sort of to be reflective of the community that the library resides in. So again, that visit will help inform that as well. And then the last thing I would add is that while we have selected 5 sites and we have 5 projects that we're going to fund, we're not necessarily going to fund one at each location. So the committee will be evaluating the proposals based on their merits and selecting the proposals that we think are the best, the strongest. So it may be that one library location gets 2 or something like that. So just keep that in mind. But I would definitely take a look at all the libraries and choose the one that inspires you the most.
Thank you, Paul. Does anyone else on our library team want to add anything? Or I think Paul covered pretty much everything, but I wanted to give you a chance if you wanted to add anything. I don't hear anything. Okay, Paul, you covered it all. And I will echo Paul in encouraging you to read the entire RFP and visit all of the locations that you're considering. In the RFP document, we've included a couple pages on each library location. It has the address, it has a little bit of background info for you, and then it has some photos. We wanted to try to give you a basic idea of whether the library has outdoor space, community room, what kind of space they had available, but definitely it will need your eyes as a creative producer to see what sites might be really interesting to work with in the library. Okay, so how do you make a submission? So we looked at the website and you saw the link to go onto the library page. This is the web address for the library page here on the screen. It's also included in the RFP, but basically here's the information that we'll be asking for. Contact information for you as the artist submitting, or a lead artist if you're working on with a team. A statement of interest. So why are you interested in the project? What's your approach? And then we want to know what your proposal is. We want to have a very clear description, narrative, and visual, please. And then we ask for up to 5 work samples. So kind of give us an idea of what some of your past projects have been and some description of those projects. And then let us know which library you've selected for your proposal. And make sure you submit by 11:59 p.m. on April 30. And when I know you're all going to go to the page and dive into the RFP and the details of it, but in the RFP, it gives some additional suggestions, for each of these pieces of your submission, how long or what kind of content. You can do a written narrative or an audio narrative. You have some options there, but it gives you some guidance on how long or how short or what form those should take. So make sure you check out those details in the RFP. And so with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go back to our normal Brady Bunch screen so we can see one another's faces and open it up for any questions that you might have.
A question, Sarah.
Sure.
I was looking through the RFP and it has kind of rough measurements of windows and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
When we select our library, are we also expected to sort of pitch where in the building it should appear, or just like depending on size and stuff like that? What's the best way to handle that?
Yeah, I mean, if you have a specific space for your proposal, I think it's very helpful for you to indicate that. And, when you produce a visual of your proposal, you can indicate that visually, you can indicate that in your narrative description, and let us know what that location is that you're hoping to work in. Yeah, we try to give some basic ideas of what was available at each location, but we're not limited to those that we mentioned in the RFP. So curious to hear what you see.
Perfect, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions? Go ahead, Margaret. Remote Margaret.
Well, I would be submitting an application on behalf of Commonwealth Theater Center, but our project would be implemented most likely by a team of theater artists. When I go to work on the application, do I submit it just with the names of the artists, or do I discuss Commonwealth Theater's involvement, or what are the parameters with that?
What I would recommend you to do is submit it as an artist team. And in the online application, when it's going to ask for contact information, I would identify a lead artist as your contact person. And then when you're, in those written, in your statement of interest or in the narrative description of your project, or both, I think then you can describe, this is a team of artists, it's affiliated with this agency. But I would kind of follow what the application is asking for and apply as an artist, team of artists.
Okay.
And just state that affiliation.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Comments? Opinions?
I do.
Yeah.
If we have any questions that arise, do we address them to Paul, to you, or just figure out who we need to if it's a permit question, to you, Sarah, or how do we submit questions? I don't have any at this very moment because I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about what I might do yet.
Either is fine, Mary Dennis. Paul and I will be, communicating about whatever questions we receive. You can always copy both of us on the email. But if it's a very library specific question, you can send that to Paul, or permit question to both of us, or however you want to do it is fine. We'll be communicating on it, but when in doubt, just put both of us on there.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Everybody has Friday afternoon-itis.
I actually was going to ask, my internet cut out just for a moment when you were talking about right before you were talking about deinstallation. So the intention is that it's a temporary project.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Just clarifying.
A temporary project. And so if it's installation based, by the end of 2021, we will plan for the artist to deinstall their project. So that would be your responsibility as the artist. You'll want to try to return the site, to the way that you found it. So everything you want to do should be reversible. Then the project goes back to the artist. The city or the library doesn't retain any ownership of it. Was that the only thing that you missed, Anne? You were able to hear the rest? Okay, good.
Thank you.
Any
So,
other questions?
One more.
Yeah,
So artists are responsible for installation and de-installation.
correct.
Okay.
Correct. Now, Paul, you can add to this. I mean, the library, can offer a ladder and things like that, but as the artist, you need to kind of let us know if you need support like that. Do you want to add anything to that, Paul?
Yeah, I would just say that we're happy to help. So, and we'll be in communication with each of the artists that, gets awarded one of these projects. So, the library will do what we can to assist.
So you can count on assistance, but definitely you'll need to take the lead as the artist. Any other questions, or apologize for the noise happening in my house? Any other questions or concerns? Okay, we covered it. Library team, is there anything else that you want to add that you feel like hasn't been discussed yet?
Well, I'm going to take the opportunity to say pretty much the same thing I said in our information session last night as well. But, one of the things that the library's main mission is to provide access to ideas and information. And so, what my goal is with this project is that, the pieces aren't about, somebody sitting reading a book in the library. It's really about this equity of access, that this is a place that's for everyone and that it's reflective of the community that we're in. The library plays a really important role as a community convener where we offer a space for people to come together and exchange ideas, people from all walks of life. And so I want this art project to be something that is also thought-provoking and engages people in a new and different way. And, it encourages that exchange of ideas and gives them an experience that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So that's just my hope for the project, and excited to see what we get.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul. That's a really good point. Anyone else, library team, has anything they want to add? I see Jake just joining us. Hi, Jake. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going? Sorry I'm late.
It's okay.
I came from another meeting.
It's okay. Welcome. Jake, we just spent some time going over the RFP, and we're kind of in a question and answer session here. So you're just in time if you have any questions about the RFP.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. No, I don't actually. So
okay.
I was just trying to hear if there was any new news.
Okay, great. Okay, so Paul, thank you for those points about the library. Does anybody else on the library team have anything they wanted to add?
I mean, I would just say that it's an interesting time to be doing anything like this too, just because people are getting welcomed back into the library too. So that's a whole idea that we can run with as well as you're doing your proposals and stuff.
That's right.
That's definitely like our messaging that we're working on as the library a lot too. It's just like we've had a weird year, and here we go.
Yeah, let's move past it.
Hey, Sarah, I do have one question
Sure.
for the library folks. Is there a preference for indoor versus outdoor placement or particular placement around the facilities?
No, I think we're open to whatever is inspiring the artist. So we don't have a preference. Just know that, if it's outdoors, from a security standpoint, whatever it may be, if it's an installation of some sort, that makes it harder for us to ensure its safety, after hours and that kind of thing. But, that's just something to think about.
So it's got to be tough if it's outside.
Great. And what happens to the sculpture after the time period's ended?
So for anything,
the art, in my case, it's sculpture. That's why I was asking.
Okay, yeah. So if it's sculpture or installation based, we will ask Jake that artists deinstall their work by the end of 2021. we have October through December in the timeline in the RFP. So by the end of the year, the artist would need to deinstall the work and return the space back to the way they found it. And then the artist, retains that property at that point. The city or the library will not retain the artwork or own the artwork after that time. It's a temporary
Gotcha. And during the installation, is the ownership, is it owned by the artist the whole time, and it's just kind of leased or whatnot? What's the relationship with the actual piece? Is it owned by the library, and then it goes back to the artist?
Yeah, it's a commissioned work. So it's committed to, to the city and to the library during the project. And then at the conclusion of the project, it reverts back to the artist. So there'll be an artist agreement that would outline all of that legal status for all of the artists that are selected.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Jake, I don't know if you saw in the RFP at the end of all the text, there's some information about each library location and some images of the spaces, but we've been, sorry for the rest of the folks that heard me say this 10 times already, but we're really encouraging everyone to go to the library in person. Whatever libraries are interesting to you, they all have a unique architectural style and community that they represent. So definitely go in person. I was super
psyched to see Iroquois was on there because that's my library where I grew up. We didn't have air conditioning when I grew up, so my mom used to take me there all the time. And
great.
I was that nerdy kid that would check out 30 books at a time, and the librarian would look at you weird, like, you can't read this many books. So no, one of my favorite places.
Great, glad to hear it. Yeah, and in the document we've included some images of, to try to give you an idea of what each library has: indoor space, outdoor space, community room, wall space, etc. But definitely go and see with your own eyes, because you'll definitely see some other opportunities for installation spaces that maybe, that we didn't include in the RFP. So you're not limited to the images that we put in there. Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments from anyone? Okay. Well, I want to say thank you to everyone for spending part of your Friday afternoon with us. I know it's a beautiful day. We're probably all itching to get outside and off of our computers. Thank you to the library team for all of your work toward this project so far, and for being here to answer questions. I really appreciate it. And thank you to each of you for joining us, our artist teams. We were happy to see you and happy to see your interest in this project. So thank you, and we can't wait to see what you submit. Okay, I release you to your Friday.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, Brittany. Thanks, guys.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Good week.
Take care.